In today's activity, you're going to create the next version of the bumper coaster with hills. The first version that you built, the one from the last activity, was just one big downhill. Now, your ride will have ups and downs, just like a real roller coaster. Thankfully, this time there are no alligators. Instead, your goal will be a little different. You and your team will have 2 marbles again, but this time, both marbles will have riders. And your goal is to figure out how to get both marbles into the cup at the end of the track. I'll show you how to get started step by step. To build the new parts of your bumper coaster, there are 4 more pieces of the track. So, if you're in a classroom, you're going to form a group of 4 people, and each of you will work on one piece of the track. Each of you has a name, so go ahead and decide now who will be Clunk, who will be Boom, who will be Crash, and who will be Pow. If you're working alone, that's okay. You'll just be creating all the new parts of your bumper coaster. When you're done with this step, click the arrow on the right. Okay, get these supplies. Each person has a different track worksheet, so find yours. But just get these supplies for now. Don't start building yet. You'll get marbles and a second worksheet after you build your track. We'll show you how to get started in the next step. Okay, to get started, each person needs to fold their section of the track. Even though everyone's tracks look different, they all have a line running right down the center of the paper. What we're going to do is line up the edges and corners of each paper and fold down the center of that line. And make a nice crease when you do, just like this. Go ahead and do this now. On your track pieces, notice there are these circles. We're going to poke holes in these in order to give the marbles somewhere to sit on your track. To do that, slide the paper so that the circle is slightly off your desk. Then, keeping one hand on the table and holding the paper in place like this, take your pencil and use it to carefully and slowly poke a hole in the circle. It takes a little effort because you'll be poking through 2 pieces of paper, but it should look like this when you're done. Now let's get back to your tracks and make them sturdy. What you want to do is fold them in half, just like this. Make sure to line up the corners and edges before you press down. Then, use your fingernail to make a really good crease. It should look like this when you're done. Okay, now to create the sides of your tracks. You're going to want to fold each side so that it just barely covers the image of the track, like you see here. You'll press down and use your fingernail to make a good crease. Notice that the track should be pretty stiff at this point, so you might have to press down hard. Then, repeat this on the other side like this. When you're done, it should look like a U shape, like this. To make this track piece into a hill, you need to make a few small cuts. Everyone find these 4 dotted lines on your track. and then cut along these dotted lines. Just be sure to stop when you get to the black bar. When you're done cutting, bend on the black bar to start to make the hills, like you see here. It should look like this when you're done. Now it's time to start putting all your track pieces together. Crash and Pow, you'll put yours together first. Find the hearts at the end of your tracks and put them next to each other like this. Crash, put the black heart over the gray heart until the stripes are covered. Hold it there. Then, Pow, you put 4 paper clips on the tracks to secure them, wherever you see the gray paperclip marks. Clunk and Boom, you'll do the same thing with your 2 track pieces, except with the 3-leaf clovers. Clunk, be sure to cover up the gray stripes, and Boom, you'll paperclip the tracks together. Your tracks are almost ready. Boom and Crash, find the raindrops on the tracks and put them next to each other. Boom, put the black raindrop on top of the gray one until the stripes are covered. Crash, add 2 more paper clips where the tracks overlap. All right, now it's time for the hills. For this step, first, everyone just get their hill. Clunk and Boom, you'll make the medium hills. Crash and Pow, you'll make the low hills. Once you've got these, go to the next step to start building. Now we're going to start building the hills. The low and medium hill pages look a little different from each other, but they're folded in the same way. So first, fold your page on the thick center line like this. Be sure to line up the edges before you fold, and use your fingernail to make a good crease. Then, take this edge of your sheet and bring it up to the line where this arrow points. Press down to fold it, like this. Give it a good crease when you do. Crash and Pow. Your low hill sheet looks a little different, but just follow the arrow. After making a good crease, unfold it. Then do the same thing to the other side. Once that's done, fold the whole page down like this so that it's folded in half. Line up the edges and make a good crease. When you're all done, they should look like this. Now it's time to create a place on the hill to hold your bumper coaster track. To do that, cut along both of these dotted lines, like this. Be sure to stop cutting at the stop signs. Then, open it up. You're going to push down the gray box like this, and pinch the part that you push down to flatten it. To give it a good crease, I suggest you lay it on the table and run your fingernail over it. Then, to make your hill stand up, open up the folded paper at the bottom and tuck in the striped side like this. When you're done, they'll stand up like this. Okay, now you'll attach your hills onto the hill holders. First, clunk. You'll cut the hill holder in half along the center dotted line. Then, clunk and boom. You'll attach each of the medium hills like this. Put the medium hills on the striped part of the hill holder, and then put one paper clip on each side of the hills, like this. Now, crash and pow. You'll do the same thing, but just with the low hills. Put the low hills on the striped part of the hill holder, and put one paper clip on each side. They'll look like this when you're done.